Is anyone in the room joining for the first time?
Hi, so I'm joining for the first time. I'm Srilata.
Yeah, welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
And you joined the group also recently?
I joined the writing group at the Facebook. Yes, very recently.
Okay. Good to have you, ma'am. Where from you are joining in?
I'm based in Chennai.
Chennai. Good to know. And welcome to Skilling on Saturdays.
Thank you.
So I welcome you all on this auspicious morning at Skilling on Saturdays, where we invite one guest every week from across the industry on various topics that resonate with personal development and skills development. So today we have with us Ganesh Vankiswaran. And
Hi everyone.
Yeah, hi. So we have Ganesh joining from, where are you joining from, Ganesh?
Bangalore.
Bangalore, yeah.
Bangalore.
So joining from Bangalore, and he's a catalyst for people's self-expression. He believes all of us have a strong urge to express ourselves to the world at large, our skills, knowledge, ideas, and thoughts, as well as life stories. He helps individuals and organizations do this impactfully by working with them as a branding coach, writer, and book writing coach. Ganesh also likes trekking, music, movies, conversations, absurd humor, as well as filter coffee. In 2016, he left his corporate job and flew out into this great expanse. You can know more about him via his website, or you can write to him, thewholehawk@gmail.com. With this brief introduction, I welcome you, Ganesh, and you can speak about yourself a little bit more. And
Thank you, Shivani.
Meanwhile, if anyone doesn't knows me, so let me introduce. I'm a chartered accountant turned into a global inspirer. I speak keynote addresses at various platforms. I help people with different kind of coachings where I help you reach the other side of the crowd. That is by building your visibility, your personal brand, by helping you write your book, as well as train you for your mindset. So this is a brief introduction about myself. I'm an author of Magical Powers of Gratitude, which we wrote together with Hirani sir and other beautiful 18 people. So this is a short introduction about myself, and I welcome you, Ganesh. You can lead forward and introduce yourself a little bit if you want.
No, I think my more and more details about my work and myself will come through the answers to your questions.
Definitely.
So let's sail directly into the questions.
Okay.
Thank you for the introduction, and I'm happy to be here. And I was telling Shivani that I'm also surprised that quite a few of us, have come here fresh and eager to learn. That says a lot about this group at 7 in the morning. That's a very early time. All right, and for people,
thank you so much. And we are blessed to conduct these sessions since 2 years now, around 2 years now. We will be soon completing 2 years time.
Yes.
And
lovely. Wonderful.
Why we are going with this concept is people are benefiting from this.
Yes, I can imagine.
And
yes.
That is the reason their energy keeps us going.
Yeah, I can imagine. Totally. It feeds back into your work. Yes.
Because if we are conducting sessions and nobody is coming, absolutely, we cannot conduct any such sessions. So that is the reason our audience support is something that I must.
That's critical for you.
That's commendable.
Yes.
They join at 7, and that's the reason they are keen learners. That's the reason we held these sessions at 7 a.m.
Okay.
And another reason to start this at 7 a.m. was that personal development starts from waking up early. So that was the reason we started it this time. So developing a early waking up habit was the ultimate goal.
Good.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So starting the session, I would like to know that there is so much buzz around the word personal branding.
Yeah.
I hear something from you about person branding. So, what's the difference, and what it is all about?
Huh. I think it is not intentionally been named personal branding. I think someone has got the misplaced sense that because it is about people or a person, it should be called personal branding. I think it's just a very wrongly intuitive association that has sprung up and that's caught on, and everybody is just following the herd. But look at the word personal. Step back and look at the word. What does it mean in English? Very simply put, it means something that's not there are two connotations, both are related. One is that it's very private to you, right? It's intimate to you. My personal belongings, my personal toiletries, my personal habits, my personal opinion, etc. Right? That's the context in which it is mostly used. So it's a very private thing. Secondly, the related other connotation is that it is not professional. Personal is very often used as the opposite of professional, right? Your professional email ID, your personal email ID. Very, very simple example. So that is why I'm saying there is a disconnect. Now, branding is always in the professional context. It is built in a professional context for professional reasons with certain professional aims, which is why I don't think it should be called personal branding. But because it is about a person, I'd rather simply just say person branding, which is why, to my mind, this discipline is about branding a human being, an individual, a person. So I call it person.
So wonderful. So definitely, what I understood by personal branding is also it is the intentional positioning of yourself to the public with some intention that you want them to influence and take action for certain things, and that is
Yes.
where personal branding or person branding, whatever you call it. So it's that way. So coming to the next question, I would like to ask, what is the best way or a powerful way to look at personal brand?
See, from the time we are born, we start being seen by people, interacting in some circle or the other. And therefore, willy-nilly, whether you want it or not, most of us don't even realize this until, for ages, for years. A certain brand is being created about you. You step out and meet someone, have one conversation, you've left an impression, and that has contributed one little bit towards the creation of your brand. So imagine you've been doing this from the time you've been a baby in different circles, in different contexts and situations, and more so when you become an adult in professional situations, right? You work, you have a job, or you have a practice, a finance practice, chartered accountancy practice. It could be anything. So your brand is just being built day after day, interaction after interaction. But the thing is, when you say that you want to build a brand, you are taking charge of this person. You're doing this by design rather than letting it happen by default. So it's by design and not default. Default is where most of us exist. But the minute you change your mindset and say, hey, I want to build my brand, then it is intentional, like you said. It becomes a choice, a decision that you make, right? By design. That's the first thing you must understand so that you shift the gears of your mind and say, okay, this is what is going to happen. If I don't do this, then I'm leaving a lot to chance, to that whole default mechanism, which, often works against us. Um, my way of looking at person branding is this, and what I'm going to say in the next few minutes is going to be, step A, B, C, D, E, also for people who are here, for the members of the audience. Uh, I look at person branding from a very deep down perspective, right? I think it's one of the best forms of self-expression. So, what is branding? Branding is to say or to connote to the world or to your target audience what you stand for, what do you embody. At its core, that is what it is. Many other things come later, but honestly, what the world has done, the popular narratives have done is to put the cart before the horse. So you have a lot of talk about content creation, about being present on social media and visibility and stuff. But then these are consequences to identifying what you first stand for. What is this brand? Brand Shivani, brand Srilata, brand Ganesh, brand whoever it is. Look at organizations first. Look at Tata, this whole large organization. Look at Kingfisher, the brand of beer. Look at Taj Hotels. Look at Pondicherry, the place that is also a brand, right? Kerala is a brand. So look at all of these and say, what do they stand for? What do they offer me? What is the kind of promise they make? What is the experience they offer? What is the value they add to me? Isn't this how we look at brands, product brands, service brands, an insurance company that comes to you? It could be anything. Isn't this how we evaluate brands? Person brands are evaluated in much the same manner. So we have to keep this in mind in designing our person brand, our brands, and saying, how do we go forward? You have to think from the point of view of your target customer, target clients. So my first step is sorry.
Yeah, sorry for that.
No, somebody's audio is on. That's okay.
Yeah, I'm on this.
So my first step, and my recommendation to you all is to identify the field in which you want to thrive. This is step one. By now, you would all have some sort of an idea, right? That this is what I want to do. This is the field I want to grow. So you may want to grow as a wealth advisor. You may want to grow as an independent chartered accountant. You may want to grow as a gardening practitioner. You may want to grow as a writing coach, as a graphic designer. It could be anything, as an architect. So decide that first. See where your heart, your passion, your interest lies for the mid to long term. Having identified this is one. And here I must mention that, in this digital era, social media, a lot of us are realizing that, we are multi-talented. It is true. It's always been true. It's only that the realization is happening more and more now. A lot of us, and because of internet, we are able to perform. We are able to get into many fields. So my caution to you at this stage, step one is, in building your brand, please be careful, because it takes time. It takes bandwidth. It will take resources later on. Even now, but more so later on. So do not spread yourself thin. I've had people who come and tell me, some of my clients saying, I want to build my brand in fields A, B, C, and D. I say, hello, wait. Do you know what this is going to entail? So be careful. If you commit to building a brand in a certain space, carry that forward. So I would suggest your intention to build your brand should ideally be in one or two spaces at the most. For example, someone I know wants to build their brand as a healer, in their person brand as a healer, but they also want to build their brand as someone in the AI and data science field. Both have different audiences, different dynamics, different everything. So it's possible to do that, but I said, please, let's cap this at two. Let's not, I know you have more talents and you have more interests, but let's keep that for later, right? So prioritize, pick out the one or two fields in which you want to build your brand. That's step one. Step two is this is crucial. I think this is the crux of the entire branding effort. When I say deep down, this is what I mean. Identify your driving belief. Your driving belief. What do I mean by this? And now I'm going to talk a bit about myself. I'll give you an example. A few years back, I did this whole exercise for myself. Because I've been, since the time I started working more than 20 years ago, I've been in the space of branding and communication, helping build brands, helping position them well, helping them communicate well. So I said, let me do this for myself. And one of the first things I did was to understand what drives me out of bed to do. So what is that belief system or belief statement that I have, which is core to my work day after day after day? So I did a bit of introspection, a lot of introspection. I spoke to people, to gather my thoughts, to gather some information, and went through a process of analysis. And then I realized that this is what is driving me. The realization that all of us have this need to express some part or the other of ourselves to the world at large. All of us want to tell the world, look, something or the other about ourselves. Shivani, you spoke about yourself, right? So when you said that, you said you've written a book, you said you're a chartered accountant, you said you also facilitate people in helping them develop themselves through sessions like this, for example. Now, there is this urge to do that and to get some sort of validation, some acknowledgement, some response from the crowd at large, the world. I realized it's a very strong, inherent human need and universal across cultures and timelines and geographies. I said, can I? This resonated very strongly with me. And then I said, look, I thought further, refined a lot of thoughts, junked a lot of other thoughts. So when I thought of it, I said, can I professionally help people do this in any way? And this led to further thinking, further introspection and conversations. And then came my brand, which is the catalyst for self-expression. This is the core of my brand, the essence.
Wonderful.
When I say self-expression, therefore, I can't just leave it loose. Yeah, self-expression is very vague, it's very fuzzy. What does it mean? So when I'm building a brand, right? I'm here, honestly, while the intention is, what am I trying to do? I'm trying to help somebody else or help many other people, but also make a business out of that, profit monetarily and psychologically from it. I want to derive meaning from it. So I said, I must carve out specific tracks. I have to make things clear to people. This is part of the branding effort. So, what is self expression? How do I help them professionally? I said, I will help them brand themselves, build powerful brands. Because I do have a corporate branding experience. I've been in advertising agencies, brand consulting companies. I carry that. It's in my blood. I'll do that for people. I'll continue to do that for organizations and for people. So that's branding. That's as a piece of self-expression. Two is helping people write books, because I realize that books are another way, a big way for people to express their thoughts, channelize their knowledge for the benefit of others, channelize their life stories, their ups and downs in life, and the poetry writing, and helping them do that and get their books published. Track was to write myself, write content for us, offer people, right? Number four was voiceover. So that's how I got into the voiceover field. Voiceover is nothing but narrating something, a message or whatever, giving voice to a project, to a podcast, to a project, to a corporate film. I've narrated for films, for and films. I do that. So this is how I've carved out specific tracks. So when you go to me out of bed every morning with a smile, where do I want to make a difference? It came from a certain belief statement. Two. Step three is to look at my body of work in this context. So I know that this is the field I want to thrive in. I've identified that in step one. In step two, I've got my belief statement, my driving belief written down. And in this context, I'm now looking around and saying, looking back and saying, look, what is my body of work? All this is part of a continuum. Is there something in my body of work that I can leverage? My strengths, my skills, my knowledge, some things will become obvious when I look back at my career. So I did that, my body of work. And I encourage you also to do this as step three. Uh, you know, hand on your hearts, when was the last time you did this exercise? When is the last time any of us here did a thought back and said, look, this is what I've done job by job or role by role by role in the course of 8 years or 17 years or 28 years? It's an incredibly powerful. Mr. Hiran, you want to say something? You're muted. I can't hear you. Oh, okay. So it's an incredibly powerful thing to look back and say, hey, it was so revelatory to me to think that I'm on the cusp of building my brand now, but let me look at what I can leverage from my past. It was incredible. Very often, in the course of things, we take hard knocks in life. There is the imposter syndrome. There are so many doubts that creep in. There's so much else that's happening. We think, oh, wow, so many other people are doing so many great things, but what am I doing? So in the context of all that, when you do this exercise, it's extremely liberating, very powerful. So take stock of your body of work and draw patterns about skills and strengths that you can carry forward in your brand, right? Step three. Step four is to reach out to a few people and take stock of your brand equity. What's equity? Let's have a bit of interaction. Can all of you unmute your mics and just tell me what the English word equity means?
It means getting capital.
What? Sorry,
In
sorry.
short,
Something which
getting
can be
capital in
monetized.
short.
I
Money,
can hear the word capital. What else is being said? I didn't hear.
somebody else said.
Yeah, something
Yeah.
which can be monetized as a value.
Something that can be
Appreciate.
monetized. That has value. Okay, excellent, excellent. Any other thoughts?
To take the ownership of oneself.
Take the ownership of oneself. Okay, so we'll stay with these two, the first two. Beautiful. Now apply that in a human sense, in a professional sense, in a qualitative sense. So all of you guys are finance professionals, or many of you, right? So I think that is the sense in which it is most widely known. Invest in equities. Yeah, equity is capital. What is your professional capital? That is the meaning of this step, this exercise. So when I say speak to a few people and understand your equity as a professional, I mean, what is the capital you've generated in all these years?
The way I connect with
So
people
you
and
speak to
the
people
way I
you worked
deliver.
with closely. Yes, yes, it's a reflection of
Yeah,
that. It's a reflection of, and when
the
you
way
hear
I
their
deliver
answers, I'll tell you
results.
what, yeah, the way you deliver results, the way you work, what is great about you, what makes them love the experience of working with you. All right, these are the kind of stuff, this is the kind of stuff that will come out. So what you do is this. The number of people you speak to is not important, but the kind is important, crucial. So pick about 8 or 10 people. The questions you will ask them are only two. One is, what do you love, or what do you think are my strongest professional traits? Traits, yeah? Traits means characteristics, aspects. So what do you think are my strongest professional traits and why? Can you give me an anecdote or two to explain, just to illustrate? That's question one. Question two is there something I must get rid of to boost my professional standing? Is there something I must get rid of or overcome? That's all. These are the only two questions you will ask. 8 to 10 people is enough, good enough. And just make sure that you speak to articulate people, objective people, people who are, who generally have the habit of looking at things in a rounded way, and not people who get carried away, either by positive experiences and say, ha ha, rara, or generally cynical people. No, because these answers are going to be very revealing. They're very important. That is another criterion. The other criterion is the recency. You can't speak to people who you worked with 8 years ago, 7 years ago. You're right, because you've changed a lot, boss. All of us evolve day after day, month after month. So pick people you worked with closely, professionally in the last 18 to 24 months. And no personal associates, no friends, no family. Only professional associates. They could be partners, they could have been clients, of course, senior or junior colleagues. It could be a mix of all this. Yeah. If there are, my partners have been associates, vendors, any of that sort. That's also okay. Get a mix of all of these, ask them these two questions, and sit back and wait for the answers. See what happens. This will give you an idea of your brand equity, your equity as a professional personal brand. The next step is to do what is known as SWOT, SWOT. What's that? It's fairly common these days. What's SWOT?
Strength,
Strengths,
weakness,
opportunities,
and
weakness, and
opportunities.
traits.
Opportunities and threats. Can you tell me how to identify your strengths? SWOT. What is that guideline, core guideline for identifying each of these? What will you put down as your strengths? What will you put down as your threats?
Yeah. Look, strength will be what is working for me. What
Okay.
I do which give me some benefit. Weakness will be something that comes in middle. There's a hurdle while doing something.
Okay.
Opportunity, you can say, you can see what is going on in the world around. What are the opportunities for your type of business?
Right.
And threats, there are so many. We have to. Then again, we have to see what is going on in the around you, and what is
Right.
going to
Right.
threaten you.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe
Threats
your
can
business
be
will go
the
down after some
competitors or
time.
our
Competitor
Yeah.
will also say it could be that product will be going, it will not be required. So you have to make a new product. So there can be
Yes.
many things.
That's true. Yes.
But it's about
Yes. So you
person.
got it right.
I'm talking about a product. No? You are talking about person. I'm talking about product.
Yeah. Yeah. So strengths and weaknesses are inherent to you. What is part of you? Opportunities and threats are outside, external
Outside.
factors, part
Absolutely.
of the landscape in which you operate. Okay. Remember this. This is guideline number one. Number two is that for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, please don't look at flashes in the pan. Please don't consider things that have
Yeah.
happened very recently and which may not last long, which will just, you think it's a blip on the radar. It'll just go quickly. Don't consider that. So if it's a strength, look at things that have stayed with you, that you have nurtured, the skills and plus points that have been with you and that have pushed your career forward for a long time. A. Two, similarly, just to take another example, threats. Don't look at threats. See, for example, I hear this talk in many fields about AI. AI. That's the next fad and that's the next new thing to talk about. The flavor of the season types. But just don't latch on to AI and say, hey, this has to be a threat because 100 people are saying it's a threat. No. Is it really going to be a threat for the field in which you want to thrive? Ask 5 sensible people. You introspect yourself. Put it down only if it's going to last for the next 3, 4, 5 years. If it's going to go away in about 7 months or 6 months, it's not a threat, boss. Don't worry about
It could be opportunity also.
it. No. So I'm saying that this is the way in which you choose what
Yes.
a threat is and what an opportunity is. The same logic works for all the 4 letters of SWOT. Okay, all the 4 quadrants. That's all. So using these 2 simple guidelines, please do a SWOT analysis. Remember, all these steps have to be done in a certain sequence because one thing leads to another, leads to another. There is always some correlation, and it is in the context of what you've decided as your field or fields. So SWOT, okay? So A, B, C, D, E, I think I've given you 5 steps. Uh, Start off with these steps. Do these steps well, spend some time, and see what happens, what emerges. This is the core of your person brand. This is one way. I'm giving it to you in a simplified way because lack of time and all that. Um, this is this will get you off to a very good start. You'll have much more clarity than you do today on what you stand for and what your person brand is. Okay. So I hope these 5 steps, and let me give you this mind-blowing stat or information tidbit. Do so there is all this talk about visibility. I said about person branding just means putting yourself out on social media, being seen, being heard, etc. But look around and see what is actually differentiating one so-called person brand from another. Very often you'll find that there's nothing differentiating. There's nothing that will help you choose A over B. Please realize that your branding word should help someone choose you over 100 or 1,000 or 25,000 other people. When they want to work with someone, when they want to hire someone, engage someone, you have to stand out in their mind and give them reasons for that. So just to answer the business questions, look at it from the business point of view, from a potential customer's point of view, it'll be this. What does this brand stand for? What do they offer? What's different about them? And why should I engage them? Isn't this how all of us decide whether to hire a professional or not and who to hire, right? So this is the business end of things, boss. Branding is very strongly associated with your business. So done well, you will be able to answer these 4 questions extremely well for your core audience. It must help them make a decision, a choice, saying, hey, I must choose Meera, I must choose Shivani, I must choose this other. Remember this. Okay, hope this helped. Yeah, over to you guys. You have questions about this? I saw a couple of hands go up. I can take questions now.
If anyone in the audience wants to ask question, please go ahead. Otherwise, I do have a few questions. Let's take it. Nobody's raising hand at the moment.
I
So,
didn't see one hand being raised earlier, but it's okay. You must have
yeah,
thought
it was earlier. Maybe you the question you asked, maybe somebody
Maybe I've
wanted to
already
Yeah,
raise
it
answered.
it.
got answered. The
Yeah,
question got answered.
yeah. Okay. So,
Okay.
moving forward, I would like to know, as branding is a long-term game, what advice would you give to our audience to take implement steps for in the short run, or somebody who is totally new in this field, what steps they must take to begin on their person branding journey?
I would say what I outlined just now are the beginning steps. They are the foundation. What's happening often, and many people get carried away, is that people start posting content online, whether that's on Insta or Reddit or LinkedIn or wherever, and then mistake that for their brand. So it ends up being fuzzy, like I said, cart before the horse. First of all, identify what your brand is about, boss. So I would say, Shivani, that these steps that I've outlined just now, they help you identify the core of your brand, and they must be step one. For a beginner, for anybody who's not done this before, this is step one. I would recommend. After that, step two, or as a consequence of this, can be that you start communicating along these lines and say, look, which is the most important social media channel for my business, for my profession? I will choose just one or two and focus on that. I will focus on building my presence on that. I will post or generate content on themes that are aligned to my brand and my work. And I will focus on these one or two channels and consistently keep posting content. So that should be your step two, step one and step.
So I just have a question. I'm sorry, I'm not able to, I can't seem to find the button that's raise your hand button.
Okay, no
Yeah.
problem.
But
Yeah, please
so
go ahead.
just a follow-up question to your, this social media thing, because I've struggled with that. So like when you say, build your social media brand around maybe just one or two core themes, that sort of your contributions to the world or something, and it should be completely aligned. I've really struggled with just doing that, because then it begins to feel to me like it's, what do I say? I don't want to just sound like I'm just promoting my work all the time. I think that is some squeamishness. Maybe I have as a writer, or I think many people would have
Not
that.
just you, millions of others,
Maybe
millions of people have that.
Yeah. So, and that is one. And on the other hand, I do feel like sometimes, like maybe putting up a picture of my cat, or saying something else, or something like that, which may not be really in alignment with my
Yeah,
person brand, or whatever it may be, right?
yeah.
So, how do I go about doing that? That is one. Yeah, that's my first question. Then I have another question also. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. If you follow these steps, uh, okay, let me give you this other statistic now. Yeah, it's going to blow your mind. When we just say brands, 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 it's all very fuzzy. But do you know that every brand actually has 15 or 16 potential sources of differentiation? Sources means aspects or elements that can contribute to making that brand solid, sharp, and differentiated. 15, 16, and that's as applicable to Tata and a Mercedes and somebody else as an organization as it is to you and me, Srilata. So brand Srilata has these 15, 16 points of potential differentiation, which also mean that there are these 15, 16 aspects along which you can talk, you can communicate on social media. See the kind of basket of options it's now suddenly opened up, right? A world of options. So it's no longer just that one, when you say one or two themes, it could be, I think you mean the kind of work you do, work related that. But when you drill down, and actually when I coach people over a month and a half to identify their brand and drill it down and put down their blueprint, this is what we come up with. So what you do is, when you identify these, it gives you the power to articulate, to communicate along all of this. I'll give you some examples. Your core strengths is one of these elements that can contribute to your differentiation, make you stand out. Your life experiences, your value system, values and beliefs, right? Your core values and beliefs, because they are very, very crucial, and they are core to how a brand operates. One brand doesn't operate the way another brand does, is not powered by the same values. So 3. 4 is there are insights about the landscape you operate in. Many truths, many deep observations that you have about whatever field it is that you operate in. Then there are the profile of your target audience. Who do you want to serve? Who do you mainly benefit? They'll have a profile. They'll be of a certain kind. You can talk about that profile itself. Talk about their life, their questions, their pressing challenges, their pain points, their expectations, all of this. So see, each one of this opens up options for you to communicate about. Now, just as an example, go to my LinkedIn profile and see. I don't post very often, right? I'm not that kind and I don't have the time. So I've paced it out. And whenever I post about some or many of these aspects. And look at many other people, they may be doing a good job, but the thing is, it gives you options. So it's not just about one or two things, it is about all these things. Please feel free to talk about your life experiences, your values, the values that power your work, uh, who you address, and their life and their needs, the nitty-gritties of your work. So you're a writer, for example. So talk about the nuances of writing itself. It's not about my book, my article. It's about writing, the nuances, the questions, the challenges, right? So can you see more options emerging now?
Yeah, yeah.
And once in a while, talk about that breakfast you had, talk about that outing, talk about your cat. Please feel free to do that. No problem. Once in a while, please throw them all into the mix.
Yeah, yeah.
Because remember, we are not robo brands, we are not organization brands, we are not an insurance product brand. Boss, we are human brands. We are people, so let's be people. Let's behave like.
Yeah. And also, just another question related to this. How important is a presence in social media and that kind of narrative building in social media for somebody who's a writer? Because again, that's another thing I struggle with. There are periods when I'm like all energetic and I feel like putting out stuff on social media. And then there's a long period of silence when I'm like, I don't want to do this. I just want to turn inward, I want to do my writing. Or I have other things going on in life, so that kind of a thing. And I just go completely silent. So a lot of my friends point out, that maybe you shouldn't be doing this. You should. So that is something I struggle with. I mean, I try and be, I'm as organized as possible, especially when a book comes out. Following that, I do it. And then after that, I'm so tired of putting out content, at some level. So, so how important is it? And, how do you deal with this?
For any field, it's not just a writer. Any field, I'm saying, like I said earlier, it is, you're building a brand in a business context, in a professional context. So there is, of course, some commercial, monetary kind of expectation, some expectation of a reputation building, etc., because you want to be seen by the world, by your audience. So it is important to put things out, absolutely important. But at what pace, that is something for you to decide. And you must look at the kind of content you put in should be meaningful, relevant, important to your target audience, which is why, again, I'm saying those 15 points of differentiating a brand and the 5 steps I meant earlier. If you do not do these things diligently, then your whole idea of what I should put out, who am I talking to, who will possibly want to, engage me, will be all fuzzy. Clarity and confidence and momentum come when you do those fundamental steps properly, right? Then you say, look, the frequency of posting is not so important, but it is important that I do it at some frequency. If I'm not seen by my target audience, then what's the point? I might as well be a bathroom singer, right? So the whole thing is to get on stage and let people hear your soulful tunes and your voice. But at the same time, you don't have to burn out. Please, post thrice a week, 4 times a week, twice a week, whatever. Establish a frequency that works for your schedule, but also make sure that you plug this into your daily schedule or your weekly schedule.
Thank you.
Yeah, for instance, I post only thrice a week on LinkedIn. For me, LinkedIn is the main channel, A. B, I only post on an average about thrice a week. And I'm happy.
Yeah.
Yes, Gaurav has been, his arm must be aching, poor chap. His hand has been for a long time. Please, Boli, sir.
No worries. Yes. Good morning, sir, Ganeshji. So it is really great to hear you, first of all. And
thank you.
On personal branding, of course, I remember one quote: if you will not build your brand consciously, people will misunderstood unconsciously. So you have to be very careful while you don't want to confuse your audience. Yeah. So as a corporate leader, like I'm in one of the world reputed MNC, I'm the India procurement head. So my role is very clear. I want to grow in my organization, like next year director, then senior director, VP, and CXO role. So very clear on my niche that I want to be growing that. At the same time, what I love about like managing people, communicating with people, serving
Okay.
people. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So in this area, sometimes I get confused because LinkedIn, I cannot post many things because as a corporate leader, what message I want to give. Like
Right.
example, some of the organization very conservative. Why person is putting those things, right? I cannot put market insight that way. So
Okay.
a little bit I have to sometimes hesitate and stop myself. Of course, I do go
Okay.
into the industry in the conference as a moderator, as a speaker, and share whichever I can share in my personal capacity. So,
Acha.
any advice to the corporate leader who are growing and want to have the, I will say, extend the society social currency of mine? So, any
Right.
suggestion there? Yeah.
Right. Right. Um, the most important point I can tell you is to look beyond your organization and look at your field of work. Look at that. Consider that as your playing field, as your playing field for your brand, for your communication, everything. When you do that, things change. The Maidan jo hai na, that becomes far bigger. And what happens is you will come across as a statesman, as a champion of the field of work, not so much your organization. See, organization is honestly something that's temporary. You might work for an organization for 18 years or for 25 years or whatever, but you might also leave in 7 years, 6 years, 3 years, right? But the point is, and because you are restricted by the organizational framework, there are things you can't divulge. There will be a code of conduct, there will be a code of ethics and stuff. So which is why I'm saying make this critical shift. Think of yourself as a statesman for the field in which you operate. If you're a chartered accountant, you're that. If you're a senior finance professional somewhere else, you're that. If you handle strategy for a company, you're a statesman for corporate strategy itself. I look at myself as a statesman, as an ambassador, as a spokesperson for self-expression. That is how I look at myself. Therefore, the level and the kind of thoughts that occur to you, boss, are completely different. Are you able to sense what I'm saying, Gaurav?
Yes, yes, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. So then it is no longer about your company and what you did yesterday and your policy, your strategy, and competitors. No, it's about what is happening in your field, trends, developments, future spotting, gazing into the crystal ball, so to speak, your own experiences of other people who are in the same field. You might meet them at industry seminars, networking for a coffee. Mine all of that and talk about what this field does, what's happening, how it is growing, evolving, challenges, and the importance of this field for people. In what way is this
Yeah.
field beautiful? How does it add meaning to people? How does it help? So when I was consulting with a help coaching a person who's in sales, he's a sales director in a certain company, and he had one of the questions he had was exactly this.
Yeah.
So when we came to that juncture of the process, I said exactly this. I said, you're a statesman, an ambassador for the profession of sales, boss. Talk of the
Absolutely.
beauty of sales. Yeah, talk of the beauty of sales. And there are so many misconceptions about sales. Like sales is, shoving things down somebody else's throat. It's about hiding things. It's about, a lot of ethical questions about sales itself. Get rid of those misconceptions. Address them. Talk about the power and authenticity in sales. Yeah, are you getting a flavor now, Gaurav?
Yeah, I'm totally getting it. Even I was thinking one point. Of course, I'm avoiding the FOMO part also because like people put the post maybe 3 times, 4 times a week. Of course, I put 3 or 4 times in a month because I'm very clear. I don't want to confuse my audience. I don't want to put just for putting. So my
Okay.
personal brand, even at the leadership position I saw in corporate, people don't put very often. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. In fact, they
So
hardly do. The corporate
hardly
audiences,
do.
corporate
Yeah.
audiences across the world, especially in India, hardly ever use
Yes.
LinkedIn very
So,
well.
but any advice from your side on this front that is it by putting post creating more brand or maybe balance of it is fine?
What do you mean by balance of it?
It means instead of putting so many posts, just putting timely post but effective post. Yeah,
Which
which
is
is.
what I said to Srilata too. It is very
Hmm.
important to. The frequency doesn't matter, and I spoke about myself too. I
Yeah.
post thrice a week. You decide what fits into your schedule, but make time. You can't just say, therefore, I'm going to, post only once a month.
Yeah,
So I think being visible on a weekly basis is important. So I think 2 to 3 weeks, even twice, I think you should aim for twice a week. That'll
got it.
do. That'll really do, because it's a marriage, or it's a blend of consistency and finding that fit in your schedule. So it's
Clear.
it's a mix of both. I think twice a week for you, your kind of profile and work should do.
Sure,
But for
sure. No,
somebody
no.
else, it could
Sure.
be different. Huh?
Agree, agree. No, I can see that even my perceived value when I started doing externally, my internal
Right,
value also got increased. Yeah.
right.
So thank you.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, no problem. Yes, Ran Vijay has a question.
Yeah, thank you, Ganesh, sir, for all the insights. The question I have is like, let's say I'm in IT sector, and like so in my LinkedIn, I prefer posting LinkedIn from, let's say, as a leader or as a life coach. I put some content. At the same time, I do some courses, LinkedIn courses, or any courses, or I got any certificate or batches in my organization. I used to post that, and I would
One
like.
sec. Sorry, I must
Yeah,
stop you here. Can you speak a little slowly and more clearly? You seem to be running
okay,
too
okay,
fast. So and
okay,
first,
okay. I'll be slow. Yeah.
just tell me again, what is the profile of your work? What kind of work you do? Just tell me
I
that
work
much.
for IT employee. I'm
IT.
working as an IT employee.
Okay,
So
okay.
I use LinkedIn for posting at least in a fortnightly. Write one post, and the post is more of a not related to IT. It's more of a related to self development or personality development.
I see. Okay.
Okay, and the concern which I have is like I have my managers and everyone added in my LinkedIn.
You're
So
right.
will this cause any impact or anything, or it will make them think like something else, or because I'm not writing with what I'm working, but rather some I'm expressing myself. So
Yeah.
I'm just expressing myself. So I will give you the context. Like I read a book and where I understood like expressing, and the expression is very important. As you said, it is something which is inclined to you, and something which is your identity should be expressed out,
Okay.
and that is when I started writing. So when I started writing, I feel very good about myself.
Sure, sure.
So, so
Yes.
that is the one reason I write on LinkedIn. Yeah, and
Mhm.
that has really made me feel confident and good. Yeah, so that is the one reason I write. Yeah,
Okay. So your question is, will it affect your reputation negatively? Will they, think bad about you, right?
yeah. So will that be a point? Yeah, just
Yeah,
want to
got
know.
it.
Yeah.
No, so as long as you take care of certain basic precautions, yeah, you have no problem. You're on good ground, strong ground. Because everybody knows, like I said, self-expression. That's my game. It is human. It is so strong. It is universal. Nobody really questions this, or has a problem with this. Uh, as long as you don't pick up stuff that could be controversial for your company, that breaches data that is secret, any confidential information and clauses around that. And that doesn't generally badmouth. Yeah, as long as you don't badmouth your company or any other company in your profession for that matter, I think you're fine. See, badmouthing anyone is a problem, and not just your company, any other company. I see that as a trend sometimes.
Mhm.
People do get carried away. And except when it's an extreme provocation, I'd suggest that you don't do this, right? So these are basic precautions, commonsensical. That's it. Otherwise,
Mhm.
if you want to talk about a book you read, someone interesting you met, a lesson you learned from somewhere else, an interesting experience, your own thoughts, you want to put out some of your writing, absolutely okay, boss. No problem at all. Yeah.
Thank you.
Remember, that's one part. Absolutely okay is one part. Question number two, we are here to talk about branding. Does it help your brand? Is the other question you should be asking. If you're looking at social media or any media for that matter, simply to express certain thoughts, then it's fine. But please remember that what you put out, people will always try to find a pattern in that, and your brand is being built in that space. So you should realize that if you write more about your life experiences and general encounters and all that, it's not doing anything for your professional, your personal. It's not doing anything. It's fuzzy, it's nice, it's heartwarming, it creates goodwill about Ran Vijay, the person. That's all. It doesn't strengthen your brand. That you must remember. So if you want to be intentional about this with a professional goal, saying, I want to strengthen my brand in the software space, in that other space, in data science, in whatever that is, then your content should be aligned with this, like I've explained earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Hope this
Uh,
helps.
Ganesh, is it fine if I add to Run Vijay?
Haji, please.
Sure. So Ran, because I am with one of the career coach, and since long time I'm learning the leadership skills there. So there are almost 50 plus IT professionals I saw, and they were also having same perception that what people will think. But now I can see they are posting very regularly. Of course, they align with their manager just for the thought process. They discuss what is your view, putting the LinkedIn post, connecting with more people to have the market intelligence, what the latest trend, and they're leveraging this relationship and growing better for the company also. And they said, yeah, their manager said, yeah, even I think so. So they just aligned in a soft way, yeah, soft manner, and then they're putting. So they are always showcasing that I am increasing my value so that I can deliver to the more to the company. Instead of that, don't get insecure that I'm putting post. It means I'm searching for job. Yeah, so that helps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Got it, got it. Yeah, makes sense.
Okay.
No
Yeah,
problem.
thank you.
And thanks, Gaurav, for that. And we have another question from Manish. Shivani, can we take that, or you want to do it?
I have a few questions, and after that, I'll be covering that question.
Acha, so we have this question from Manish. I'll maybe take that and then I'll come back to you. We can take your questions.
Okay, okay,
Is that okay?
okay, okay.
So
No
Manish
issues.
Dahiya says, what had been your biggest challenge so far? What had been your biggest challenge so far, and how did you overcome that? Mm, Professional challenge, my biggest challenge. Boss, there have been several. My biggest, give me half a minute. I think my biggest challenge has been in saying no to certain things I should not be doing, and in identifying therefore these specific professional tracks that I work in. This happened a few years back. This juncture came a few years back. And I said, remember I said that I did this branding exercise for myself, on myself. When I did that and identified, the my driving belief around self-expression and whatever I said about that earlier, the next question was, look, self-expression has several different forms, and what do I do? How do I do? How do I make this very specific and clear to people? I can't just say self-expression catalyst and keep quiet and sit back and say, hey, people will come to me. Nahin. So that was, I think, the biggest challenge I've had so far in converting this driving belief into specific streams of work or offerings for people, and detailing out those offerings and saying, offering A is for this kind of person, and I will do this kind of or offer this kind of benefit or make this kind of difference to them. Offering B is for another set of people, offering particular different value, offering C and offering D. And therefore, there were many other offerings that I could have given out, many other tracks that I could have chosen. So I think the biggest challenge was to filter out and say, okay, these are what I will do and these are what I will not do. Not because I don't have the inclination, ability, or anything else, or the aptitude to do that, but because, again, it's a question of time, mind space, bandwidth, resources. So I had to deprioritize or, push certain things onto the back burner, say no to certain things, and say, okay, these are the ones I will. And how did I end up choosing these? Why did I leave out certain others? It is because I could see a huge potential for these offerings in the market. There is, I look at it in two ways. One is by potential and demand. What I mean is, I look at the monetary aspect, yes, growth, and therefore how many clients and will I make money by being in this space. But I also look at how many people can I benefit. See, that's also another way of thinking as a leader brand, as being one of the as a progressive brand. You must look at the benefit that you can deliver to some people, the value you can add. So when I considered both these aspects, I thought it has to be book writing coaching, it has to be person branding coaching, and it has to be scripting films for corporates. So these are three specific or the major things that I. This was my the toughest challenge. All right. So I hope I've answered that clearly enough. Shivani, please, over to you. What
Yeah,
other questions do you have to
so
shoot at me?
yeah, yeah, I do have a question on you talk about lighthouse effect. So what it is all about?
Okay. What is a lighthouse? What is its
Yeah,
core purpose? What does a lighthouse do? It's a question to everybody. Anyone can answer.
yeah. Um,
Lighthouse give you, matlab, it will show you the way where you want to go, where you have to go. It will give you a direction. The
Okay.
purpose will do the same thing. It will give you a direction, a path.
Okay. Gives you direction. Okay. Ranvijay says it throws light into the, it gives light in the night. Okay. Yes.
It
Any
gives
other interpretations? Any
it
more
gives you the
answers?
direction of the wind, and it will tell you which way the ship has to go, so that you
Okay.
don't going in the wrong direction.
Wrong direction.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Good. Let's stay with these. Okay. This is exactly what I think a strong brand, a leader brand, a progressive brand has to be and do. I think of a brand as a lighthouse because, which goes back, now I'm connecting with what I said just earlier in answering the earlier question, Manish's question. The noise about branding is, like I said, put out content, increase visibility, more people should know you, gain followers, this follow account, becoming an influencer. These are things you will hear. But what you don't hear, and what I think is also an equally important aspect of being a brand, is to guide, be a guiding light, is to show people the way. And that is what I mean by the lighthouse effect. I think of myself, when I think of really of myself, and when I work with clients, I encourage to think of their brands in their own, that the same way. Brand Manish, brand Gaurav, brand Srilata, brand Shivani, etc., should be lighthouses in their chosen fields, chosen professions. So you can do this in two ways. One is by specifically guiding people who come and work with you. That is obvious. But also, when you say that you put out content, can that content shine a light? Can it help clarify things for your target audience? Can it answer pressing questions? Can it take on deeper issues, larger issues? Can it provoke thinking? Can it be, thought provoking? So doing all this means that you're a lighthouse. It means that you're shining the light. Shining the light is not just when you work with a client, they pay you money and you deliver a certain benefit. No, shining a light is just by being you, your brand, day after day after day, week after week. Can you do this at seminars, at conferences, wherever you meet? Can you do this in a corporate meeting in your company? Any forum, it doesn't matter. Can you be a guiding light? That is the lighthouse.
Wonderful to know. So you might be having your own certain experiences while on this journey of a person brand for yourself. So what are some of such experiences that you would like to share with our audience and how they can benefit them?
Okay. Like I've written in my latest book, it's 22 Till I Die, Precious Learnings of a Freewheeling Entrepreneur. So if all of you can pick up this book, it's a slim book and very introspective so I've taken 22 lessons from when I wrote the book, I was 22 years into my career. So I've taken 22 lessons for each of my years. One of the things that I say there is that in the preface to that book is, the first 12 years of my career, I was just a regular professional, right? So now when I look at it and when I wrote the preface, I said it this way, that it was, things did happen by default. I was kind of drifting. Yeah, not drifting. I was not adrift. I was not aimless. But what happened after that in the last 10 or 12 years, that has been a vast shift, been a big shift. So again, design, default versus design. The first 12 years I've been adrift and I've, been by default. I did not apply my mind to my brand and to intentionally saying where I want to go in my career, what I want to do. So I think that is one life-changing experience I've had in my professional life, in my building my brand. The day I decided to be intentional and said, look, I must do this fundamental exercise and then decide what my brand is about, be clear about it to myself. Then when I did that, I found such power. I mean, I call this it gives you escape velocity. It's like you unleash a rocket, right? But for that, or a missile, you need to achieve escape velocity first. It helped me do that. So I think that is one experience I'd like to share. Another experience I shared in the context of Manish's question, right? This whole challenge about what to choose, what to offer, and what to say no to. That is another very interesting and I had something I had to grapple with. The third thing is this, every client I work with, I get immense satisfaction when I'm able to make a difference to them. They come seeking something from me, knowing or thinking, that this guy is this kind of a brand. Brand Ganesh Vanchishwaran means this. But that is an impression. But when I'm actually able to deliver on that impression and possibly even go beyond that, I make a big difference to them. See, the people who come to me come with important goals. Yeah, writing a book is an important goal. It means something very strongly for them. Building their professional brand, their brand means something very important to them. So when I'm able to deliver on these things, I gain immense satisfaction that I can't articulate beyond this. It has to be felt, experienced. So I think these are 2 or 3 things or aspects that I share about my branding journey, my branding life.
Wonderful. So moving forward, I would like to ask, what role does content play in building a strong personal brand, and how one can manage their content strategically?
Okay. I did touch upon this. It has come up in the conversation in some of these questions. But just to summarize, content is critical. Don't be a bathroom singer. You are a brand. So please make the world understand, your target audience understand that you are this kind of brand. And a brand is it's a powerful thing, right? To make them understand the power. Share your thoughts, tell them what difference you can make to them, lead with your thoughts, be a lighthouse. So in doing all of this, content is important. You have to, after you do the fundamental exercise that I outlined earlier and answer those questions to you for yourself, you then will get a strong sense of what your brand is, and therefore your content should be aligned to that. It should be aligned to what your value that you offer. It should be aligned. And I explained this in connection with Srilatha's question also. So pick up things that are relevant to your target audience, that are pain points, pressing concerns, big questions, big challenges, developments in your field. Pick up all this, your own experiences, make it personal, no problem, and generate a content plan. Write some sort of a rough content plan at least, even if you can't be very detailed about it. And then this is organic. It is an organism. It's a living and breathing organism. Please remember that your content plan is not a dead Excel sheet. It's not just points you put on paper. You can improvise. You might get a thought suddenly on one morning or after a meeting. Please jot it down somewhere. But as long as it is aligned to your brand and what you stand for, what you offer, it is fine. Yeah, that is the core thing. You must make sure that that alignment is there. And then pace out the way in which you put out content. Choose the channels. I mentioned this again earlier. 1 or 2 main social media channels, but also your meetings in organizations, meetings with clients, with colleagues, industry fora and seminars that you attend. All of this are channels for your communication. So even a conversation, one-to-one conversation, my conversation, if I can steer it, I try to steer conversations. I talk about the work I do, but in the context of self-expression, how important that is, how meaningful it is to my audience. I don't say, I do this, I do this, I do that. I lead with self-expression, and invariably the conversation then comes down to what I offer them. So we weave it around in that meaningful sense, right? So then you don't come across as a jerk. So think of it intentionally, align it with your brand and with your target audiences, and make it strategic. That's what I mean by making it strategic. Don't burn out. Don't get led by the herd. You don't have to join the herd at all. You do something that's right for you in terms of alignment with your brand, in terms of content development frequency, in terms of where you have to be seen, etc., etc. These are very contextual things. So content does have a very important role to play. Being consistent in putting out content is important. So pacing out the content is also. Hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you for that. And I would like to ask one question that some people are still hesitant and they do not understand the importance of person brand. So, what are first of all, let us know the why part, why it is important for everyone to build this person brand or personal brand, whatever you call. And then, what are a few tips on creating a powerful digital presence?
I think I've covered some bit of it, quite a bit of it earlier.
Yeah.
Creating a,
Few points
especially
have been
creating a,
covered, but still,
no, especially creating a digital presence. I think I've spoken at
yeah.
length about that. But I'll take the first part of your question. The why is simple. I think there is immense and exploding competition for all this. Exploding. Any field you take, because of the power of the internet, I think hundreds of people are, joining, becoming, independent professionals or corporate professionals, and making themselves heard, making themselves visible in the public domain day after day. Yeah, it's like what vehicles join, getting registered every day. So in Bangalore, there is some statistic which says about 8,000 vehicles get registered, fresh registrations every single day. So multiply 8,000 by 365 and you'll see how many new vehicles are being registered in a city. It's just the same that's happening out there. X number of people, hundreds of people are, coming on to the public domain and saying, I do this, I do this, I do this. So how will you stand out? How will you make your audiences hear you? How will you build that meaningful and deep connection with your target audience? How will you therefore, like I said, all this has a business end to it, right? How will you therefore make them say, look, I must hire Shivani and not 10 other people. I must engage with Gaurav and not 40 other people. This is the crux of the branding effort. This is why building your person brand is important. And in the social media age, when more and more and more people are coming onto the radar and being visible, this is becoming critical. If it's important today, I can tell you that in 2 years or 3 years from now, it's going to be critical. So the earlier you start, instead of keeping it to that critical point, the flash point, the earlier you start, the stronger the advantage you have. So that those 15, 16 points of differentiation I said, all of that all of that put together. It's like a photograph. How do you compose a photograph? A photograph looks easy, looks beautiful, looks heartwarming. It brings a smile to you, right? But do we realize that a photograph actually has these 15, 16 or 20 different points that make it up? So working on all of that and building differentiation is critical because it will help you stand out and it will feed into your business in a time of glut of competition, glut of people, glut of content. That's the importance of this.
Yeah, so I would like to add it here that visibility, why visibility is important because when you are doing a business locally, you have a limited number of clients or customers. But when you go digital, you can reach out to lot many people and not even in your territory, but globally.
Right.
So that is
Yes.
where you connect. And a lot of people are looking for people who can provide those services or products that they require. So
Yes.
that is where you connect with those people, and that is where being visible brings you that connectivity and brings your business or professional clients or customers. So that is one point. And then I would like to highlight on like there are three kinds of people, right? So number one are those when any new thing comes in, suppose AI is coming or the personal branding is there or any other new thing comes, first kind of people, they jump in just as the new thing comes. They're
Yes.
waiting for Apple 16 or 17 or 18 version.
Hmm.
Another kind of people are those who wait for some time. They see that some people are benefiting. Yes, that's a definitely wonderful product. And
Yes.
then they or they must then at that stage they jump in. And the third kind of people are those, as you say, about the critical point. So when it will become critical for them that they cannot do things without that particular thing or the trend, they need to jump in, so then they jump in. So this is where you stand, introspect yourself that where you stand, and
Yeah.
the sooner you understand the benefits of something, definitely I hope you will be jumping in.
I want to respond. You're right, but I want to respond on 2 points that you raised. One is in the second part, you said, the three kinds of people. I want to add that there's a fourth kind of people. And I'm encouraging
Yeah.
all of us here to become that fourth kind of person. A strong person brand, a progressive brand, a lighthouse brand is that fourth kind of person, which is to show the way, to look at things ahead of much before they become critical and to still lead the way in terms of thinking, thoughts, ideas, opinions, raising questions. So the content that we speak about, and when I said it's aligned to your brand, your content has to perform on all these. That is the fourth kind of person, the
Yeah,
lighthouse,
absolutely true.
the guiding light.
So
Be that.
this is
That's
where
the
you
true
build
power
your
of a
brand.
brand. Yeah, that is one. Number two is in the first thing that you mentioned, about scale. Yes, it definitely helps you build scale if you're visible to more and more people, and the internet has enabled us to do that. It's brought in so many opportunities in every field. But when I hear things about personal branding, I hear visibility. And you've said the same thing. But I want all of you to pause. And the idea of this session itself is that it's not just visibility. It's not just being on the radar. There are 40 other people on the radar. There are 100 other people on the radar.
Right. Standing out of
The thing is to be the shining star there, the pole star. That is the differentiation that I mentioned, which is why those questions that you asked earlier to yourself and answered them honestly, diligently, spending time and 15, 16 other differentiating elements, 4 or 5 of which I mentioned, those are the ones that are going to make your content differentiated. Those are what are going to make your brand differentiated. So it's not just about being visible, but it's about being differentiated, being different from the crowd, standing out, and therefore appealing to more and more of your customers.
So very well said. And I would like to like you to throw some light on the future trends of person brand.
Future trends.
So what do you predict?
Yeah, no problem. It's going to become critical very soon. Yeah, I'm cautioning all of you right now. It's going to become critical in 2 or 3 years, and by which time more and more people would have embarked on this effort. So the day to do this, start doing this is today. A. B. I think there will be a shakeout in this whole person branding thing. More and more people will understand what you and I and all of us have been talking about today. That realization will dawn on people after this initial euphoria and a lot of misplaced excitement and talk. This will go away. This will die out in the next 2, 3 years. There will be consolidation. There will be more sensible thinking about this. That day will come in the next few years. That's point two. Point three is a lot of stuff will get hyper personalized, more and more personalized. And digital tools will be available. If you've done the strategic thinking on your brand, that fundamental thinking right, then you can leverage more and more digital tools as they emerge, which can help you as an individual, as a person, personalize your offerings to people. So I might, for example, there are 10 people, 21 people now here. There will be tools that will help me mine the expectations of each one of you and see to what extent I can customize the same offering to Shivani, to, Srilata, to somebody else, and to Hirani sir and all that. That potential will come up. So I can think of these three.
So wonderful. I have 2, 3 more questions, but meanwhile, first of all, I would like to know if you have extra time.
No problem. We can go
Okay.
on for about 15 minutes more. No problem.
Okay. So, Hirani sir, you were raising hand. Do you have any question?
No, I was just saying a person's brand is already being built every moment. But what
Yeah.
you said initially, if you do it consciously, you will direct your brand to the way you want to. And the way you said lighthouse, in this crowded area, the one person who is a lighthouse only will be seen, others
Yes.
won't
Yes.
be visible. 100%.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for getting that point.
So,
Somebody else also put up their hand earlier, I think, Shivani, right? I saw two hands.
I
Yeah,
didn't
but
noticed. Yeah,
no
I think
problem.
if
Gaurav Sharma,
somebody has a question,
Gauravji,
you can.
Yes, I raised, but partially I got the
Okay.
answer in any way. But
Wow.
still, I will ask one small point. So not ask, it's a reflection only. When you said it will future trend, it will become critical. So it's a, I believe, power of now. We should act now, so that
Yeah.
till the time it become critical, we already made our personal brand that way. So we will be
Correct.
ahead of the curve. Yeah.
Bilkul. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
this remind me one point, the way you do anything, the way you do everything. So start be world class right away by creating your personal brand. So that will help.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Correct. And let it not become a fire kind of situation where you have to jump out of the window. Let it not become that. See, it's very
that's it.
easy to sit back and be in your comfort zone and think, nothing's going to happen. Nothing. No. Before you know it, the carpet will be pulled from under your feet, and then you'll be too late. Yeah.
But Ganesh sir, one thing I have one question because everyone knows everything these days because information available with everyone. So whichever you feel, whichever I feel, whichever everyone, yeah. So everyone on the same wavelength in understanding
Hmm.
what is to be done.
Hmm.
So where you feel our USP will lie because everyone is going to do the similar things. They all
Uh,
have.
nahin, 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 nahin. See, I don't know. Maybe there is this. I must say this, and sorry if it's controversial or wrong or whatever. But I think it's this. I think in your mind, and it's symptomatic of the crowd. There's a large overhang. This thing about just being visible, just putting content out. No, if you and Shivani, if you, I don't know if you'll make this recording, the recording of this session available to the
Yeah,
members,
it's
please
yeah.
do so. I think there is so much for people to go back to and reflect and hear and hear and hear again. Because I'm Gaurav, that's why I'm saying don't take this in the wrong sense. But your question is
Sure.
telling me that you haven't attached enough importance to some things that I've said earlier. If you've answered those 5 questions, if you've done that step-by-step process, I'm repeating. This is something 90% of the world does not do. It's a great opportunity for you to do and to shine on as brands. If you do that, that is individual. That is going to pour a lot of individual experience and thoughts and stuff into your brand. B, your core values, your value system, your driving belief, the experiences you've had with your clients in your field of working, how you interpret them, the questions that you are asking related to your field, some of the challenges you've undergone, how you've overcome them, your triumphs, your losses, your setbacks. Look at you. How many times is this you coming in? That you,
Mm,
nobody else can talk about.
got it.
You get it? There is so much already in what I've said. Please hear this again. So it's
Clear.
not that everyone is on the same page. Everyone is not on the same page. Everyone is not thinking and doing the same thing. You have so much scope to differentiate yourself.
No, no, I agree. Fully agree. Because your exposure, your experience, your reflection will be, of course, different than others.
And your values will be different. Your driving belief
Values.
will be different.
Mm,
The way in which you operate will be different. Right? The
got it.
insights and nuances, your observations about your field, that is yours. That will be different. Your core strengths, talk about some part of your content will also be about your strengths, right? And your skills and stuff. That will be different. So the trick is to find a way. It's easy. I mean, it's not really so difficult, but the trick is to find a way in which you weave in all this into your content plan. And when you do this consistently, that becomes your brand. You've differentiated yourself.
Got it. And are we going to get this maybe somewhere written 5-step process? Because as I said, I joined bit late initially.
I
So,
think it's part of the recording. So if you get that, it's all there.
okay, from the recording only. Okay, got it. Perfect.
Everyone else can unmute yourselves. Please feel free. I mean, this is a smallish group, so please feel free to ask your questions.
Yeah. So if anyone has any question, please go ahead. Otherwise, I have one question. So I don't see any raised hand or anyone speaking.
This is
So let
Manish
me.
here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Manishji, please go ahead.
Yeah. So, Ganesh, thank you so much for your insights. And I asked you one question, and you said you very you got, I got the answer, but maybe I was just looking for that. How did you overcome the challenges? Like maybe I overheard that, or I didn't get it well. So if you can you please repeat that? Like how you were able to overcome your challenges?
I did say that. I think you can listen to the recording for that. But what I'm quickly summarizing is I had to just look at what made sense, most sense to me at that time. I had to pick out the offerings that I will focus on and build my brand on within the broad area of self-expression, catalyzing self-expression. And I had to leave certain things out because there are many options available in self-expression. But I had to say, as a brand, person brand, I will do A and B and C possibly for you under the area of self-expression, not X, Y, Z, and M and Q. So I had to go through a process of thinking, and then I said, look, where is the most potential? Which for what kind of self-expression is there most potential? What kind will I be able to monetize? Where is the necessity or need felt more? Where can I operate and make more of a difference to my clients? And therefore, there is a monetary angle to this also, which is where, for what will people pay me the most amount of money? So I put these questions into the blender and then happened. And that is how I came up with the answers, saying I will prioritize two of these things as part of my brand, which is book writing coaching and helping people build their person brands as a person branding coach. And there are two other things that I offer, but I will put them as C and D. And they will be available, but I'm not going to harp on that. That's not going to be my hero offer. So the challenge, and this is how I address the challenge. I hope it's clear now.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you. No problem. You're welcome.
So thank you for answering Manishji's question. Anyone else have any question? Or shall I
Or
go
even
ahead?
if you want to share an experience about building your brand
Yeah.
or how you build your reputation or an experience that you've encountered, you can, please.
Ganesh sir, one question on book writing. So, like example, I'm thinking to write, and I do feel that I learned a lot in last 3 years. But whenever I think to start, I just always think that इस तरह का कंटेंट तो लोगों ने लिखा होगा. Of course, I have my
Okay.
own experiences. Of course, I will reflect. But a lot of
Okay.
learning are from the different coaches, different community members, and also
I see.
starting point. I always stuck. How to start?
So, I mean, what do you want to start about? In what to write
Just
a book? Is
writing.
that?
Yeah, book one, book writing. I'm thinking on reflections and on the leadership front.
Yes, but then you have to do the research, put in the thinking, and talk to people and observe and read and do all this to say what are you going to say different about leadership?
Hmm.
What are you going to say different? So that has to come from your research. If you want to take leadership as your theme, thousands of books have been written over the decades on leadership. It's cluttered, in terms of number of
Yeah.
the kind of literature you have. So yes, what new am I going to say about literature is the first question, fundamental. If you
Got it.
can address that sharply and well, then you have a topic for writing a book. The same goes for themes, in motivation, self-development, in anything that's to do with inspirational thinking. All of that, so many books are there.
Yes.
Communication, so many books are there. So the challenge is this. Can you research this well? Can you think this through to say what new and powerful and contemporary, relevant to the times can I bring? What angle can I bring to this theme? Otherwise, another way of looking at it is, are you restricting? Am I restricting my thinking? Am I assuming that, it has to be about leadership? Why don't I think further? Why don't I
Yeah.
try to mine other themes which my brand may be aligned to or where I have the enough knowledge? There could be other themes. Possibly it is time for you to look at those also beyond something that's common like leadership. Just giving
Got
you two
Yeah.
ways, two options.
Hmm. Got it. Clear. Thank you.
And
Can I
look
say?
at other books. Yeah, so you must, as part of your research, look at other books and literature and see what's commonly being said about leadership, yeah, about or any chosen theme. And then what different can I say? What can I say that's powerful?
Can I quickly say something?
Absolutely true. Yeah,
Sorry.
Thank you.
Oh, no
please,
problem.
please go ahead.
Yeah, I want to quickly say something on book writing. See, I also go through what I missed your name, like Gaurav, right?
Gaurav, yeah, Gaurav.
But I also
Yes.
go through the feeling, emotions, what you are going through. So, what I have discovered now is that you start writing what you know today. Like whatever you read anywhere, you start writing something, right? So when you start writing something, your mind will find a direction of writing what you really want to write, right? So you
Hmm.
don't wait for perfect moment actually. So that's my takeaway that, if you want to write something, just start writing. And when you write, when you will start writing things, then it will tap your potential of what you really want to write. It's just like, you cannot read the second page of the book without reading the first one. Okay, the
Yeah.
first page is what you know today.
I think I agree with Manish. I agree with Manish in a different sense. But look, your point is valid, Manish. Thanks for bringing it up. Gaurav and others, uh, how I see, because I'm a book writing coach, I work with about 80 different people and help them, apart from writing my own books. Writing just eases you into the stride. It puts you into the stride of writing, because writing is another craft like software development or financial consulting, wealth building. And if you look at it professionally, it's a craft. There are nuances involved, there are dynamics involved. So it eases your path into becoming an author tomorrow. So getting into the writing habit that Manish is saying, just putting down your thoughts, you could write them as LinkedIn, Instagram posts, you could write them in your diary as a journal, anything, whatever it is. But just being regularly in touch with it is important. It helps you ease into the stride, become more confident, understand certain nuances, and then at a certain point, X weeks or months later, you will say, okay, hey, I'm now confident enough to float my writing in the form of a book into the public domain, take it to a larger audience. It builds that confidence. So yes, thanks Manish for bringing up that.
Got
So
it.
I would like,
Thank
Yeah,
you.
this is my
yeah,
own experience that, if you have to do something, then the first thing is to start taking action. So nothing is the most important and most critical thing is start taking action. Start with something, whatever basic whatever small thing start writing it, and you will find like the way to what you really want to write. And you will explore everything on the Google, your friends or your network or what you'll find the answer to every question you have to write a book. So that's my advice to you,
Absolutely.
Gaurav. Yeah.
No, no,
Right.
thanks, Manish. Yeah, even for me, I know that because whenever I'm connecting with people, serving more, I'm able to see that that persona is already created. Even I
Yeah.
can serve whenever any person come to me in my company, in my network, I can see that they are getting benefited. Then I thought about it that yes, then I should reach to the wider audience. Yeah.
Shivani, any other questions?
I want to add here that first of all, God has created you unique, right? So when you are unique, definitely you are going to create something that is unique to the world, something that no other person can hold, your uniqueness. So bring it out to the world, first of all. And another thing is anything that has ever been created by human is created first in the mind and then in reality. So this is where you need to think of and plan your work within your mind and then onto papers. And this is where planning your work. So get in touch with me. I will be guiding you on this front. I am too a book writing coach, so you can get in touch with me. And another thing is planning your book. So, how do you plan? As Ganesh already said, that there are hundreds of books, but still you have the option that you go through the content of those books, what it is given, and then find out what unique you have that has not been written in any book. And that is where your USP falls. That is where your book will stand out from the crowd and make a brand for you. So this
Clear.
is
Thank you, Shivani.
what
Yes.
you'll
Okay.
establish as a brand.
Correct.
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 When I say something,
Yeah, please, sir.
if you want to write a book, first and foremost, you'll have to decide what about, what is something that you want to write about. Then put the content in line, This will be number 1, chapter 2, 3, 4. I think Ganesh will agree with me. And once you
Yes.
put the content, it will become very easy for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Correct.
that is what I talked about planning the book.
Yes.
What should be there in your book?
Absolutely. Yes. How you flesh it out, the structure comes from there. First comes
If you don't have structure, you'll go haywire.
Yeah, first comes the theme, then comes the topic, which is differentiated, which is sharp, powerful, new. And from there, you build the structure of the book. Yeah, the skeleton, which is the list of chapters. And onto the skeleton, you pour flesh and blood. It's then that the book finally takes shape. And by flesh and blood here, I mean, what will each of these chapters talk about? What are the main points?
And Ganesh, best part is when you have the structure.
You put that down as step, just 2 or 3 bullet points per chapter. So, you get a better idea. So step by step, you will get things clearer, become more granular.
And Ganesh, once you have the structure, if you get some points from outside, you know where to put it.
Sure, of course. Yes.
So I will be summing up lastly all the points that I do hold and want to you to talk about or summarize in a few minutes. First of all, what role does authenticity and networking play into the person brand? And another one is how can someone recover from a negative perception of their person?
Networking is obvious, just like you're putting content out on social media. Here too, you're putting yourself out in a public forum. So networking is definitely important for our professions to build our brands. Yes, I look at networking, I would suggest that you do it more thoughtfully, which is, again, it's not about the number of people you meet, and it's not just the people you meet. It's not just about meeting or one interaction. To me, networking is about building long-lasting and meaningful relationships. So I look at this very clearly as relationship building. Are you building relationships? Strong, long-lasting, and meaningful relationships is the question you must ask. And this, once you do this in this way, you must keep doing it consistently. Here again, there is no need to look at large numbers. There is no need to burn out. There is no need to keep being seen here, there, and everywhere. No. Be conscious about it, be deliberate about it, and be strategic. So you will just focus on meaningful fora, meaningful networking sessions, social media channels. Again, those 1 or 2 main channels that I spoke about, industry seminars, etc. And you will speak and build relationships with a few people over a period of time. And you can keep adding to this number, but again, very consciously, very strategically, as long as it aligns with your value system, your belief, and the work you do. In short, as long as it aligns with your brand. That's all. That's how I look at networking. So if you do it this way, it can definitely help you build it. And one part of this relationship building, therefore, is also on giving, how you help others with contacts, with connections, with information, with by answering their questions at certain times. So helping or giving is also a part of this relationship building. Therefore, it's a part of your brand, giving. And sorry, that's one question, right? I've answered. Is there another thing you asked me? About how one
can negative perception of
can handle negative perceptions,
how they can overcome,
or setbacks to your personal brand. I think step 1 here is to just simply be, therefore, have your radar going around at all times. That's important. It's easy to be caught up in, my brand, my work, my achievements, my work, etc. No, it is to also be clear and conscious of what your audiences are talking about you. What are they saying about you? So one step is every year, please do this brand equity exercise, the one that I explained earlier. Reaching out to about 10 or 12 people, meaningful professional associates, and asking them those 2 questions. All right. So that's one step. It's a recurring step. Do it once a year, an annual exercise. It'll help you understand the pulse of people you work with. And therefore, that is reflective of the larger audience. Number 2 is when there is a specific instance of a setback, a problem, crisis that your brand is facing, backlash, negative impressions, negative comments, then understand whether it's valid. If it's valid, if it's true, if it's genuine, please apologize. The first step is to apologize for that having happened in the relevant context, whether it's your organization or an industry forum or social media. Having apologized, would also commit to correcting that, that impression and whatever led to that impression, that perception, correcting that. Commit to that and lay out the steps saying, look, I know this happened. I'm sorry. That is apology. B is it happened because of ABC, root cause analysis, put that out. Then C is, the third step is to say, this is how I'm going to correct it. Commitment to correcting it. 4 is to, if it's big enough, it's a big enough problem or crisis or whatever, you must follow it up with action and make sure that you communicate about that action. See, if you get to a point when many people know you and you're in the public realm, it's also easy for people to pull you down. Don't give them that opportunity. So the step 4 is to close the loop by saying, hey, after some time, this is the action I've taken and this is how I've improved. This is how things have been corrected. So I think I would recommend this 4-step process.
Wonderful. And thank you for all the wonderful insights that you shared today. A lot of things were like new or the revisions, and especially the lighthouse effect. It is definitely the takeaway for me. And I would also ask, I have shared Ganesh book in the comments, and I would also ask our audience to do share your arguments or what new takeaway you took from today's session. You can share it here in comments or can share in the WhatsApp group or on your social media. You can share your takeaways and tag us. So that would also help you to establish your brand and will bring credibility to these sessions so that I can reach out to more wonderful speakers based on that. And that's where...
And Shivani, that's important.
Yeah.
I'm also personally keen to know this, what you felt, what you thought, what you learned, what was new in this and what was thought-provoking. So please do, my request also is, please, send in your comments without fail today itself, and it's fresh in your mind, to Shivani, and she can channelize that. She can pass them on to me.
And you can post your learnings on social media as well, on LinkedIn or any other platform, and tag us.
And so that would help. I want to add a couple of other things. Yes, sorry, did I interrupt you? Go on.
No. I was saying that that will help us all connect and build the brand of Skilling on Saturdays as well.
Okay, sure. The last few bits I want to add are, please visit my website. It's www.ganeshv.com. I'm putting this in the chat box right now, ganeshv.com. And you can look me up on LinkedIn. Just type in Ganesh Vanchishwaran and self-expression catalyst. These are the keywords because they're integrated into my LinkedIn handle. By the way, so another important but small learning for you is that you can and should personalize your LinkedIn handle. You can do that. So Ganesh Vanchishwaran, self-expression catalyst. Search these words on LinkedIn. Self-expression.
Ganesh Vanchishwaran is itself only one.
Yeah, I know. So that itself is unique enough. So
it's unique.
So Ganesh
unique name.
Correct. That's on LinkedIn, and my email ID is thewholeHOLEHOG@gmail.com. That too is on the chat, in the chat box now. And there is another book I've written, my first book, Shivani, that's called The Underage CEOs. Yeah, it's about very young entrepreneurs, the underage CEOs, and then just add my name to this, The Underage CEOs book, Ganesh Vanchishwaran on Google, and it'll throw up the results. Yeah, it'll take you to the books page. So, and my third book will hopefully come out in January. I'm close to finishing the manuscript. And if any of you is interested in building your personal brand, developing it, deep down in this robust way, please reach out to me. I do have a month and a half kind of program or process through which I go through the certain steps in detail, and we arrive at a blueprint for your brand. So I'll be happy to help you with that if any of you is interested. And thanks a lot for showing up so early in the morning and listening keenly, listening, paying attention, asking questions. All this matters a lot. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Shivani and Mr.
So
Hirani, thank you
thank you.
for
Even
organizing this.
I resonate with you so much that whatever you are doing, I am doing on the same lines. So I don't see the competition, but the collaboration that we can bring on, being on the same lines. I too help people for writing books, for building brands. So you can reach out to myself or Ganesh for whomsoever you can, and let's build up your visibility, your digital visibility, and make you a unique brand.
One last
That's
question, if you
yeah,
can.
Yes,
yeah.
someone said
Please,
something.
please.
Ganesh, just one question, which which always keeps in my comes to my mind, that how can we fully or more like highly productive in every waking hour of our life? Like, what's your advice on that?
One is to get your driving belief. That is so important to keeping me focused and doing more meaningful stuff on the track, on the track, really, which is, in other words, productivity. Meaningful productivity, not mindless productivity. That's one. Number two is compartmentalize things. Number two, sorry, before that, number two is don't get into too many things. Again, it's a big temptation for many people, not for all, but for many people, saying, I must do this, I must do that, I can do this. Hey, that's a great idea, shining new thing. No, focus, be grounded, stick to, again, that comes from your belief. If you got that right, it will keep you on track and it will help you filter out many other things. So that's step two, don't get into too many things. Step three is to compartmentalize. Understand when in a day and when in a week. Look at it weekly and look at it daily and understand the periods of days and periods of weeks when you can do certain things better than others. See, all our activities, there are different kinds of activities we all have to do. As parents or as carers for elders at home, there is a personal stuff, the financial stuff that you must do in managing your own wealth. Then there could be children involved. Then there is your profession. Then there is your health, all of this. So in the midst of all this, you will realize that there are some things better done at certain parts of the day or on certain days of the week. So allocate those parts of the day, those days of the week for that. Figuring that out is also a crucial part of your answer. When I did that, I could see a big shift. So, for instance, my creative work, the strategic work, the more important work where my mind is involved, for the last few years, I do that in the first half of the day, starting early in the morning. 5:30 is when my work day begins. Before that, I have a morning routine of meditation and deep breathing and stuff. So I do that, then get to work by 5:30, 5:45. Imagine doing this day after day. So because I realize that it makes a lot of difference to the quality of the work I do, and I can work better and faster. But certain other things like routine communication over emails, sending bills, sending proposals to people, all of that is kept for the evening. It requires a different kind of thinking. I'm better geared to do that in the evening. So figure that out for yourself. And fourth or fifth, I've lost track of the number of points, but the next point is your breath. Breathing is such an underrated superpower we have. Nobody talks about it. Deep breathing, slow, deep breathing throughout the day will clarify your thinking. It takes your mind to another level on a regular basis. It works deep down. So that shift helps you again focus better, think better, and be more productive. So these are my suggestions.
So
Yeah, thank you so
absolutely,
much.
belief plays the pivotal role, and even 1% doubt will hold you back from taking action. It is only the strong belief that will itself urge you to take action. So this is one of the wonderful quote that I believe in, and it is rightly said, 1% doubt, 100% out, and that is where we are conducting this program of helping you develop this unbreakable belief. That is a 21-day program. We are starting from Monday. So anyone who is interested to join in, please join us. This is a wonderful opportunity. And you will be developing this kind of unbreakable belief that itself will urge you to take action for whatever you intend. So if you wish to join, do get in touch. I'll be sharing the flyer today once more for the last call that you can register. And thank you so much, Ganesh, for bringing all the concepts. And lastly, talking about belief, that was uh, uh, like a. I was not expecting you will be talking about belief, and that gave me a window to share the offering that we are running this course to help people develop their belief. And even our book is written in the context of developing belief in oneself, and how only when you will be having a belief, we have a dedicated chapter on belief, and all the things that we have written is directly connected to the belief system that we have. And it is because of the belief only that anyone takes action. Even 1% doubt will hold you back in taking action. So that is where
And
the belief
yes.
is important.
And thank you for the people who expressed their sentiments about this talk and what happened and what they've taken out. Some comments have come in. So thank you to them for expressing those thoughts. And thanks to all of you for patiently listening to this and imbibing whatever you imbibed. Thank you, Shivani, again for inviting me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you all
definitely.
have a
And
great
thank you for your extended time. We promised 7 to 8, and then sometimes it happens that 8:30 or even 9
again,
till when we are
again, it's
talking
the
and discussing.
thank you. No, you're welcome. You're welcome. Absolutely. But I just want to say that all of this energy, this passion, and the intention or the inclination to go beyond a certain limit, all of this comes from my belief. Again and again, it goes back to that. It's incredible how it's not just warm and fuzzy words, but really things that will add meaning to your daily productive, practical life. So it's just because of that. I do believe, if this can play a role in helping you express yourself better by building strong, authentic, powerful brands, then why not? I'm willing to stay that extra time. Thank you.
Thank you so much to Ganesh, to you for your knowledge sharing, extended time, and everything. And to our lovely audience, because of whom these sessions are running so well. And soon we will be completing 100 weeks. So bringing some new ideas will be revealing on
Very
100th
nice.
episode.
Superb, superb. More power to you. More power to you.
Yeah. And look forward to run it for the long term.
Sorry to interrupt. I just got an idea now.
Yeah, please.
If you are game, I am game to come here for another session, this time on writing books.
Sure, we'll plan in 2025.
I think there'll be a lot of interest in many people in writing books. So why don't we do that too? It's just an offer. I am game.
Yeah, we can bring it in 2025.
Done. Okay.
Yeah.
Just want to add one thing. My realization is that when you start writing, then only you realize your full potential. Without just reading, listening will not take you to your full potential. That's my experience.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything is within you. Or you have all the resources that you need within you. Every knowledge you have. You don't need any external knowledge. It's just you discover your talents and knowledge and put it down in the form of paper.
And nowadays we have understood about quantum physics. We live in a multiversity. Everything available.
Yeah, and we ourselves are universities. We ourselves are multiversities.
Yeah.
There is so much that is already given to us, like you said, right? So
it says that it is already always there. You just have to attract it. It is already there. What you want.
True. Yes. All right, then can we?
And that's the reason graveyard is called the richest place on earth, because a lot of people take a lot of things inside them and then they die. So that is why the graveyards are called the richest place on earth. Lot of potential, lot of ideas. So thank you once again, everyone. And we are closing the session.
Bye-bye.
And have a great weekend, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.